and it's a fun run. And yeah, a while back, I'll just turn the fan off so you can hear me. There we go. A while back, I struggled with my weight. And, dang, I can't even get my TV show to go, but I went up to about 250 in pounds. That wasn't fun. And I'll be honest with you, but when I get there, I have a way of losing weight. And if I stick to that program, it always works. For me, it's eating light in the morning. So, like vegetables or fruit in the morning. This is a great show from the 70s. Three's a Company. You also get John Ritter in this. It's amazing. So, let's get back to business. And a solid meal at night with long distance hiking. Try for the evening or in the morning. I usually went late night because I was so used to this trail because I've done this before. I've been down this road back in 2020. I think the last time was 2009. And actually, it would have been 2011 or 12. But I've always struggled with weight since my high school years. And right about grade 7 really start packing on the weight, So you gotta find the core issue. And when you start doing that, it's like kind of the way John Ritter's life was on that show. It was pretty good. But it doesn't happen overnight. And you got to stick to the fundamentals of eating healthy, staying away from processed foods. That is probably the biggest hidden, sneaky food in the world. If you're a person that is obese and you are watching my video for the first time, this is a very fresh video. I'm just recording now. Processed foods could be pretty much in any food. Like, it's even scary that I'm trying to find fruit and vegetable markets that sell it straight from the farm. I grew up in the agricultural areas of Ontario, Canada, and I'm proud of that. My father produced maple syrup, some of the finest, I'll tell you, since 1967, still going strong. And, it's vital that you try to even eat fruits that are farm to table. Vegetables are vital, and it is good. It's but you also have to walk. You have to stay hydrated. I would consider meats. Taking pork out would probably be your best bet. You can eat beef. Just make sure you strain the beef a little more to get the grease out. And try to keep a lot of macaroni or pasta out of your food. Anything with that liquid cheese, that's another processed food. You have to remember, it's frustrating. I know. And then if you want to enjoy like a pizza or a cheeseburger, you still can do it. Just once a month and make the choice. It's kind of like a car draw, except your car draw is once a month and you get to have it. And you can still do that even when you're obese and trying to lose weight. I went from 250 to 217 pounds. I've been down to 200, but 217 works for me because I'm trying to put on a muscular tone. My lower body is done, but my upper body, it's a restoration project. And it's skinny. It looks good, but I wouldn't mind a 6-pack. Not too strong, just right. And I would highly advise start watching like people like Joe Rogan experience when he has the dietitians on, because they can tell you a lot more than I could. But walking is probably one of your most vital. Mountain biking, I've ridden bikes at 250 pounds. I have one out in my living room. I ride when it's a nice day. Today it's just steaming hot. It's like 29. You won't find me out in that heat. But getting back to things, like, you really want to lose weight, you gotta walk a real, and when I say long distance hiking, you better be committed to walking over a mile. I'd say a solid 2 miles. I think that's, and it'll equal out to about 4 in total. And I know that sounds frustrating. And make sure you've had your bathroom breaks. You might get away with a 1. Where I walk, it could, because I walk through a woods. But I would guarantee you, just make sure if you're going to a city neighborhood, make sure you're going near friends' houses. So if you are really need to take a pit stop, or you have to, or if there's a restaurant by, make sure you stop there. And I know temptation, but you have no choice. Just stop in, grab a bottle of water, and send yourself on the way afterwards. But the main factor, if you really want to lose weight, it really is willpower. I always found what worked for me when I wanted to lose weight. I had to hate myself for what I did to myself. And that sounds weird, but this is something that I've learned over the years. Anybody who has been addicted to cigarettes, drugs, food, it's your problem, not anyone else's. So you can't blame the cook down the street at his local restaurant that he made you too fat, or your parents for buying the groceries. You can't. It's the same thing with a drug addict. I had a cousin who was a drug addict. He can't blame the drug dealers because he went and he paid the money to them to get his stuff. He cleaned his life up. And who can you blame? You blame yourself. So when you're obese, you get in front of that mirror and you admit that you are fat. And I know that hurts, but you know what? You have to admit that you are fat. Because if you don't have hatred on yourself for failing, you're never going to win. Because the only way you're going to win is that you got to dig yourself from the bottom and bring yourself back up. And sometimes you have to hit that brick wall at 120 until you realize that you have to start changing your ways, making good choices. I remember years ago, another guy, a friend of mine, struggled with weight. He said what worked for him was long walks. And in a month, he could lose 20 pounds. That will work in your 20s. But as you hit your 30s, it starts to slow down. It'll get down to about 10 pounds. And then it'll be in around the 5 pounds, in 5 to 10 pounds in your 40s, depending on how active you are. It will be frustrating if you are in your 40s, going upwards, but it works. You just have to make sure you get extra exercise. Some of the things I do is I'll take off fast on a street. I'll get it down to the final seconds and I'll take off like a shot. And it works because it gets your blood pumping. The problem is when you're obese, bikes don't steer good. It's the same as a motorcycle. You get too fat, you won't be able to steer your bike safely. And then you'll get tank wobble. And I ride mountain bikes, and I've never ridden a motorcycle. But yes, I do know what tank wobble is. And if you don't know how to get it back in control, which means speeding the bike up and overpowering your handlebars, you will lose control. And that can happen with a mountain bike or a road bike. More a road bike. And that you don't even have to have a tank. All you have to do is get your wheels sliding out from underneath you. I love though sliding my rear tire on mud a little bit with a mountain bike. It's once you get the flow of it, it's good. And see, that's a problem. When you weigh a lot more, you're too grounded. It gets harder to climb up a hill, like to ride up a hill, because you're the engine. On a bike, on an e-bike, yeah, it's no problem unless your battery goes out. Do you see where I'm getting at? And when you walk into a bar and you want to hang and chill with your friends, and this woman that you've seen maybe 5 years ago or something has came back into your life, and she sees you and you're a much different person back then, you're a lot thinner, your first impressions are not going to be impressed. Some will accept you for attitude, but a lot of times women go on how you look, your appearance, your clothes, how you smell. Like, and I know that sounds frustrating. Jobs, talents. So the one thing you want to do is to take care of yourself. If you respect yourself, they respect you. And that should be the most, I think that's one of those motivational things that you have to understand. If you don't, it will destroy you. Because you can take a fatal heart attack from overeating. It's not good for your health. You know, like, and one of the things you always notice when you're overweight is that you'll always go to the bathroom, but 2 to 3 times a day, number twos. I always notice that, and it's not healthy. It's because your heart is pumping out so much food through your intestines. It's crying uncle. You know, that's its way of saying, oh, I need to get that stuff out of here. So it's cleaning out your living room to make sure that you have more room for other stuff. You know, seeing all of it, can be an impulse. You know, when you have to understand it, and I hate bringing this in, but even in scripture, it says to keep your weight to what it should be. And try not to be obese. Because it's evil to be greedy. For people that are watching that, you know, are very up on the Bible and stuff. Like, I grew up in a strict religious family, but, you know, I'll be honest with you, I pray in private, and I'm not ashamed to say that. Like, I am a certain religion, but due to certain things, I had to make a choice on that too. But, you know, if you care about people and you care about your friends and you always pray for the right reasons, that's doing it right. I have nothing against the religion I go to, but I just don't feel it's the right fit for me. That's all. It's the same thing with your clothes. You'll buy clothes from maybe 3 years ago, and then 3 years later you're obese. Your t-shirts don't fit, your jeans stop fitting correctly, a suit you used to have and you're going to a buddy's wedding does not fit. You have to go out. That all costs money to replace it. So you gotta make good, healthy choices. Like, if you're gonna get food, try to find locally farm-based meats. And I would advise, and even buying from the store is still good. It's still good. Just gotta make wise choices. And if you're vegetarian, you make your vegetarian choices. But I always believe vitamins are in meat. And I can personally tell growing up on a beef farm, cattle don't suffer. Like, if they're raised properly, I can tell you personally, what we called steers are sent away to be sold to stockyards, and then they're fattened up even more and kept for about a solid more year or two. I don't know. And then they are, well, dealt with. But the heifers, which are the young cows, are resold to farmers that need cows so that they can reproduce calves. So what it is the excess bull cows. And when they are dealt with, they become steers. And some of you people that are animal rights and stuff, I'm telling you personally, please back off. The silliness of the theory that we are hurting animals is not true. I have lived on a beef farm from the day I was born, like when I was in the hospital, and out to my hometown, right up to, I'd say, 30, maybe 31, give or take. So 31 years. And I can personally tell you, those cattle were happy. We had large acreage pasture. We had tons of fields. We had a grain combine, so they always had grain. You know, the biggest issue though is there are farmers that are reckless. And there was one in our area, and he was a very reckless farmer. So, what can you do? Even the government of Canada had to step in and stop him. That's how bad it was. We all couldn't stand him. So I got away there on that. But, losing weight is not hard at all. It just takes endurance. Having a quality pair of shoes, good pairs of shorts, hydration pack is vital. And you never know, you'll start meeting friends. I know I did. I was talking to a guy on a motorcycle, and I was telling him about my dad's. My father had a 53 Harley Davidson when he was 16, 17 years old. And that is the truth. Didn't even have a license. But you got to remember, in 1967, you didn't need a license on a motorcycle. Like, you could get away with it. Things were a little more lenient. And I think he had that bike till he was about 1972. So it was an interesting bike. He had it for about 5 years of his life, and he wiped out in the laneway, but he was okay. But then he sold it, and he got a car, and got into construction for a bit, and then he got a job working in maintenance at a building, and did well. And then he got married. And that's how it happened. But jeez, yeah. Pop-ups are getting worse on these things. I saw something funny on YouTube today. This lad had bought himself a motorcycle, and he was a big kid. It's a fine example of when you put on a lot of weight and you go to buy something like a motorcycle. I can guarantee you, if that thing had been a Ninja or a Gixxer, he would not go anywhere. It was an HD. So he went to take off, and he couldn't, and he stalled the bike. I found that hilarious because he had no self-control in his life. What I'm trying to get to the moral of the story is of this 18-minute plus video, 20-minute now, is that you have to exude self-control as you eat. See, as this is a perfect episode of dining. Look how they eat slow, they laugh, they joke around, they're pranking Ritter. And Suzanne Summers having a lot of fun in that picture. But it's about eating healthy, like eggs and beef. See, those are proteins. For people with me that have bipolar, eggs are great because it actually naturally brings your levels down. Actually, that's potatoes. I have 20 years in the restaurant industry, so you got to remember, I've worked in culinary, and then before that, I was working around cattle, so I know my stuff. That might be pierogies. I do some mean pierogies. Someday I'm going to do some of my cooking videos so I can show you how to do pierogies. Yeah, I know they're processed foods, but I pull them out once in a blue moon and just have some. Because the thing is, you can't starve yourself of a favorite food. But just stay away from the chips. At least with pierogies, you're still getting proteins and things. They're not as bad. It's kind of like eggs. Eggs can be easily argued that they have bad food in them. Do they or don't they? It's kind of, they're one of those 50-50 foods. Pierogies are kind of the same way because it has potatoes in it. You know, growing up Irish and Scottish, potatoes kind of come hand in hand. And US, Scandinavian. Okay, so it'd be Irish, Scottish, Scandinavian, US, and Canadian. If you notice how I talk, I do have a bit of American accent, I've been told. But am I a little outspoken? I think that's just a bipolar in me. I have bipolar, so I get a little talkative sometimes, but depends. Women that know me think I'm really fun to talk to, and that's a good thing. Not much of a comedian, but you know, you got to keep your weight under control, and the best way is to have a solid program. I told you how my program works. If it helps you, send me a like. Tell me how it helped you, how much weight you lost. Let's be open here. Like, I watched Joe Rogan, and he said it's like anything in high consumption will ruin you. And I can't, if it was like that or something, I'm not going to go across the copyrights, but like, he is right. I have enjoyed Joe Rogan for years. I remember when he did stand-up comedy on Mad TV. He's just a great person. He knows, a great man and knows a lot and how about life. And when he does that show, it's good. The only ones I won't watch are the political ones. So yeah. Do I swear by him? I don't know. It's kind of on and off there. But, you know, once you do lose weight, don't take a break. Because every day you're going to find an obstacle. And you always want to be in peak condition. One of the things I would recommend once you get in shape, start doing crunches. If you can't afford a gym membership, do crunches. That'll get you a 6-pack. At one time, I could do 50 crunches. I remember it was a local lacrosse player, and he's one of the best. And he could do 50. I used to have to spot him, and I'd do mine. And he'd spot me. Make sure I was doing them correctly. And he'd get mad if you weren't doing your crunches correctly. Because, you know, professional athletes, they take it very seriously, workouts. And it's vital that you start, like, as you grow older. When you hit your teens, you want to make sure if you are gaining weight, start getting in shape. That's what walking trails are for. That's what woods are for. Walk in safe woods. Don't walk in big ones. But if it's a big one, make sure it's a conservation area where people can go out walking. Because safety is number one. Always walk in a safe place. I would even recommend, even if you walk past a person that's addicted to like drugs, who cares? They're kind of like pile-ons. They're not going to hurt you. They got their problems. And just say no. They ask you for something. Try to be nice to them. Give them food. I know it sounds weird, but like, I've even bought them burritos. Like, they're still human. Like, have mercy on them. Like, you feel bad, but like, when you work in a restaurant, you can always find leftover foods. I find the best way, if you don't want to deal with them, leave it on a street bench. They'll pick it up. They actually appreciate it more that way because it gives them a sense of purpose. And they'll give you a sense of purpose because you're still giving back to the community. Because not everybody has deep pockets. I don't. I'm broke till payday. And I'm doing this video. And I got to pay for my internet and my phone. I have some rent I got to pay to my parents because I'm co-signed. I got a spending problem. Look at this. Those are prepaids with money on them. Like a little bit of money. There's about like $14, $15 in there. And that's all I have right till the end of the week. Am I perfect? If you're good at, financial stuff, I would appreciate some advice about that. I got expensive tastes. As you see, that's where the money went. Just pick that one up. The telly. And that's a real expensive one. I don't like talking about it, but it is what it is. I even bought another case for it. I wanted it in a really nice chainsaw Fender SKB case. They give you weight relief. Anyways, I'll see you later. Bye now.